All right, next up we have Alexa Joyce, who is going to talk to us about preparing students to be future ready. Alexa?
I am super excited to be here with you today.
Welcome.
And let me just fire up the presentation so I can dig right in. So I'm joining you from Brussels in Belgium, and I'm really excited to be sharing some of our perspectives at Microsoft around preparing students to be future ready and how we can do that in an inclusive way and give opportunities to girls, but also to all kinds of students who might not typically see themselves as being tech specialists or being computer scientists. So I want to kick off by just digging into why is it so important that we actually think about developing students' technical skills and future ready technical skills? Well, we're in the midst of this fourth industrial revolution. I'm sure that many of you, after you finish your working day, sit down and watch a movie on Netflix with your kids or watch a TV series. And so many parts of our lives like that have switched to being driven by tools like AI, by tools like the cloud, whether it's for fun or whether it's for our working lives. And all of this disruption, which is going from a technology standpoint out in society, is also disrupting the kinds of skills that we need to develop as students go through the education system, and how we can make those skills more inclusive and more accessible for every single student, whether it's girls or whether it's other excluded groups as well. So at Microsoft, we take this responsibility incredibly seriously. We are dedicated to making sure that as many people as possible from diverse backgrounds get the opportunities to succeed in the digital economy by developing their skill sets, but also developing their knowledge and their opportunities to succeed in the digital economy. So why is this so important for us at Microsoft? Well, obviously, from one perspective, we really care that people, when you buy our tools or use our tools at school or at work, that you're able to do that in a way that actually brings value to you. But also what we know from the tech industry and from research on successful design of technical tools is that those tools which are built and envisioned by diverse groups of people, whether it's by bringing more women into the industry or other people with different types of needs, actually creates much better experiences, better products, better tools, which are able to also serve the needs of a more diverse population as well. So let me just make sure my screen is going to advance in the right direction. My apologies. So right now, if you look across the world, there's a huge challenge for us to actually build inclusive technology because we have too few computer science graduates, particularly in the Western world. So if you look in Europe, if you look in the US, UK, Australia, you'll typically see that the computer science field is kind of the poor cousin in the space of science and technology, which is already a relatively minor pursuit compared to many other subject areas. And we're actually seeing a downward trend in the number of computer science bachelor degrees being taken in the developed world, and particularly in Europe. And at the same time, we see that even out of those students that do go into computer science bachelor degrees, we have a serious diversity issue. So if you look at the data here on the left, which comes from the European Commission, actually only 17% of ICT or computer science students are female, and only 16.7% of them go on to actually be employed in the IT industry. And we see similar challenges in other parts of the world as well. And this is also reflected by the background of the students who join computer science bachelor courses as well. We have a very heavy preponderance of Caucasian white background and much smaller percentages of other backgrounds. So we have a challenge that we need to address through the school system, through universities, through careers advice, to rethink how we portray computer science to students who might not see themselves as a traditional computer scientist. And we also need to expose students in schools and in universities to many more role models. I've done research myself in a past job before I landed at Microsoft on some of the reasons why girls were choosing technical subjects in school or choosing technical subjects in university. And it was nothing to do with achievement. In fact, they were achieving really well, if not better than their male peers, but they lacked confidence in the space. And they were more likely to get negative reinforcement from family and from role models within their schools, or even from textbooks and the wider culture than boys. And so we need to work harder at making sure that we address those stereotypes, whether it's for girls or whether it's for other non-traditional backgrounds that we want to encourage to think about computer science. And it's not just about pure computer science as well. I have to say that what we see today is that people who are really successful in the world of technology are not necessarily computer scientists themselves. I'm not a computer scientist. My special area of study is actually biological science, sustainability, and education. But using technology as a way to achieve the goals in biology, to achieve the goals of education, or to achieve the goals of sustainability. And being able to combine different subject areas and inject technology as a tool into whether it's business, whether it's health, whether it's any other area of work is tremendously powerful. And we see it also as an incredible opportunity for us to accelerate socioeconomic inclusion of people from non-traditional backgrounds as well, because those students who go into technical roles or go into the tech industry are typically paid better than in other industries. So it can be really a motor to generate community development by bringing in non-traditional backgrounds as well. We also hear that we need to think about creating new types of partnerships. So we've got this global economic crisis going on where even though we've got a tightening of job markets and an economic slowdown taking place, there is still this ongoing demand for technical skilling. The economy's really changed because of COVID. We've got declining confidence among students in the value of higher education. And we see a need for new types of learning and new types of partnerships between technology providers and the education system. And we see that there's also very different situations when you look across the globe. Some countries have a computer science curriculum from primary through to secondary school that then tees up for students to succeed at tertiary level. Some countries have no computer science curriculum at all. And then some have shallow or patchy curriculum, or they might introduce a little bit of coding for a code week or something like that, but don't have a consistent approach to it. And so we recognise at Microsoft that for education systems to address this, it's extremely challenging. And even in those that have a really well-developed curriculum, they're not necessarily always finding it easy to get that implemented in schools. There's a really complex set of interactions that an education system needs to address to actually make computer science curriculum successful in schools. And this is a framework developed by the European Commission's Joint Research Centre, which I think really summarises the problem. You need great and enlightened ways of integrating computational thinking across the curriculum at all levels of education. You need a systemic rollout with appropriate assessment and adequate support for teachers, which is one of the hardest things that many systems find to do, because computer science is still a new subject for most teachers out in schools today. There needs to be a really effective support policy that brings in different stakeholders like tech companies, but also non-profits who are doing amazing work in this space, as well as consolidated understanding and vision of why we're actually making this change, whether it's the head teacher of a school, whether it's parents, so that we can all head in the same direction of getting computer science more embedded in what we do in schooling. So at Microsoft, we really want to support schools and universities in preparing students for these jobs of tomorrow. We recognise that many students who've been through traditional computer science education, and particularly girls and excluded groups as well, find it frustrating, find it boring, find it dry. And we've seen that getting more hands-on opportunities to problem solving using technology is something which really makes a difference for them. And at the same time, when we get that hands-on exposure to tools that they might actually use in the workplace, it means that they're much more recruitable when they go into looking for their first job when they graduate. But that's really hard for educators to stay on top of, because we in the tech industry keep changing the tools, we keep inventing new things and bringing them out. So it's very hard to create curriculum which stay on top of all these changes. And so we want to work closely with institutions to actually bring curriculum that we update and that we advance alongside what's provided by the institution, to make it easier to adapt to that ongoing change, and to partner with institutions excuse me, so that we can also help connect colleges and universities with the companies that we work with at Microsoft, to help build a pathway for students with technical skills to actually go into jobs where they can use those skills. So to do this, we've built a program called Microsoft Learn for Educators, where we give the opportunity to bring a technical skilling pathways into schools. We give training and support to educators to do curriculum integration, to plan out how the curriculum can be adapted, and to train them up to be able to actually get hands-on with that curriculum themselves. We provide an opportunity for students to actually certify on that curriculum as part of their learning process, so that they can graduate from college or from university or even school in some countries with a Microsoft certification, as well as the graduation certificate from wherever they're studying, and get those students really ready for future jobs. Oops. So why do we encourage the adoption of student certification alongside technical curriculum? Well, first of all, we've done a lot of research on what the impact is of student certification. And first is that students who have certification, when they go onto the job market, they actually get recognised for that certification and typically more likely to be hired than those students that don't have it. We've also seen through our research that the students who've had exposure to industry tools are actually more likely to be successful when they go into their first jobs, more likely to get promotions, and more likely to be able to be immediately successful on projects, because they've been hands-on with tools that they might encounter when they're in their first job. And we see that hiring managers are actively looking for people with these types of certifications. So our program's available in 85 countries in 12 languages. We've supported more than 1,000 institutions and growing our community of educators every day. And we've certified more than 125,000 students. We're seeing that those students are able to get into those in-demand job roles, as I mentioned, but also increase their salary potential. And our entry-level qualifications in areas like cybersecurity, like AI, like data science, are incredibly popular with institutions and with students themselves. We're seeing that they get that competitive edge from adopting these certifications as part of their learning pathway. So who's actually adopting this type of curriculum, and who are we working with? So let me give you an example. Nottingham University in the UK has got an integrated strategy to bring students up to date in terms of digital skilling in a number of different curriculum areas. So you can study Microsoft AI, cloud computing, or data analytics certification as part of your bachelor's degree or as part of a master's degree. And so they joined our program to get their faculty skilled up and get them able to actually offer these certifications as part of their degree course. And I met one of the students graduating from one of these courses, and his first job is in the area of business intelligence and analytics. And he really credited having done the certification as giving him the idea that he could work in that space, and also giving him the confidence to go out and get that job. We're also working closely with vocational institutions. And so this is an example from Asia. The Hong Kong Institute of Vocational Education is one of the first schools in Hong Kong to adopt our curriculum. And there they focus very tightly on cloud and on Azure skills, and built hackathons alongside the learning experiences so that students could get really hands-on with their tools. And they found that this is really successful and helpful for them as well in getting their students into jobs, particularly at this point where they're the only school in Hong Kong actually offering this certification. So their students were really sought after they got involved in the program. So what are the next steps? Well, one of the first things, if you're in an institution or in a school or in a college, we are actually offering certifications and self-learning pathways for any student entirely for free for this academic year. So they could take cybersecurity, data, AI, or any of the above, or all of the above if they wish, entirely for free by taking the self-paced online learning courses available on Microsoft Learn. That then, once they've completed their learning process, they get a free practice test, so they can take a practice exam before actually taking the certification exam itself. And then they get the voucher to take the full-scale exam itself. And we're seeing really amazing level of excitement and engagement with students wanting to take this certification. And so I would encourage you, if you have students excited about or interested in the computer science or IT space, to go and try out that learning pathway. It's mainly focused, I would say, for students aged 16 and up, but we are seeing some countries using this with students as young as 12 years old. So it's really, really exciting to see such young students really getting to grips with professional level AI tools as part of their learning process. I would also add that every single student gets access to $100 of Microsoft Cloud credit so that they can experiment using the Microsoft Cloud, whether it's for hackathon projects or for their own personal learning as part of our programs. So if you want to get involved with us and go on this journey of integrating cutting edge IT topics into your classrooms, you can work with us to register into our Microsoft Learn for Educators program. We'll help to work with you to identify a program advisor who will represent the institution, can help work with the teachers around the institution to get trained up on the content and give you advice on how to integrate content into the curriculum, to activate all the student benefits, which includes hands-on lab environments, the cloud credits, the opportunity to take the free exams. And then we have an educator community with educators from around the world who support each other, give each other advice, and we run regular office hours to help ensure that we help solve any challenges that educators might be having in implementing this curriculum in their institutions. And you can sign up whether at institution level or as an individual faculty or teacher to get your hands on all of the content, the training guides, the presentations, and all of the materials that you need to really get started and to teach this to your community of learners. So I'm going to stop there. I want to thank you for the time that you spent today hearing about what we do at Microsoft to make it easier to access IT and technical knowledge, and look forward to some of you joining our program.
Thank you so much, Alexa.